You know, some legacies are written in stone, but others, they're written in the lives people touch, and their impact just keeps echoing, sometimes for more than a century. Today, we're diving into the story of one such person, Dr. T. Leroy Jefferson, a man whose work as both a healer and a thinker is, believe it or not, still making waves today.
And let's just start right here, with this quote from Dr. Tiffany McCullough. She's a leader in the medical society that actually carries Dr. Jefferson's name, and what she says gets right to the heart of it. This isn't just some dusty history lesson. Nope, this is a living, breathing story about inspiration and service.
And when I say living legacy, I mean it. The T. Leroy Jefferson Medical Society is the real deal. They've won multiple National Society of the Year awards. They run a huge community health fair every single year, giving free care. And get this, their career symposium mentors over 1,000 students, literally inspiring that next generation. It's incredible.
So that really begs the question, right? We see all this amazing work happening today, in his name. But who was the man who kicked it all off? Let's peel back the layers and find out.
All right, let's start with the man himself, a guy whose absolute dedication to his community earned him a pretty unforgettable nickname.
Dr. Jefferson's life, wow, it spans such a huge moment in American history. He was born in Mississippi just 2 years after the Civil War ended. Think about that. He was part of the very first generation of African Americans born into freedom. He went to the prestigious Meharry Medical College, and by 1902, he was the first black physician in Palm Beach County. I mean, what a massive achievement in the segregated South. He later opened his own office, a drugstore, and even became an author before he passed away in 1939.
And this is how he got that amazing title, the Bicycle Doctor. Just picture it for a second. An elegant man riding his bike all over town, his black medical bag right there with him. He was determined to reach Black and Native American patients who literally had no other way to get medical care. That bicycle became a powerful symbol of his promise to go wherever he was needed, no matter the distance or the prejudice. He actually started his practice in a community that doesn't even exist anymore. It was called the Sticks. It was a settlement right on Palm Beach Island, and it was home to the black laborers who, and I mean this literally, built the grand hotels and resorts the area is so famous for. That community was eventually torn down, but while it was there, Dr. Jefferson was its lifeline. This quote, this really tells you everything. He wasn't in it for the money. As Dr. Brian Coleman, one of the society's current leaders, points out, people paid him with whatever they had. It wasn't about business, it was about community. It was about putting people's health above everything else.
But Dr. Jefferson wasn't just healing bodies. He was also a really sharp observer of the world around him. And this side of him, his intellectual side, is a whole other part of his incredible legacy.
So in 1937, he published a book called The Old Negro and the New Negro. This was right in the middle of the Harlem Renaissance, that amazing explosion of black art and thought. And Dr. Jefferson, all the way down in Florida, he added his voice to that conversation, analyzing this big shift in identity that he was seeing all around him.
And the core of his book was this really interesting contrast. He described the old Negro as a figure shaped by the incredible endurance and faith it took to survive generations of oppression. But the new Negro, he said, was different. This figure was assertive, self-sufficient, and was actively demanding equal rights. His book was basically a call to action and a guide for navigating this new world. But here's the kicker. The publisher kept the copyright. His family never saw a penny. And then, when he died just 2 years after it was published, his book, this whole intellectual part of his legacy, it just vanished. It became lost even to his own family.
And that brings us to the climax of our story. It's about how this legacy of service and this lost intellectual voice were both, against all the odds, brought back to life.
This is such a great story of family dedication. Decades later, his great-great-niece, Dr. Mary Jefferson, starts a quest to find this lost book. The search eventually leads to a university in Texas that, amazingly, had 2 original copies. So what does Dr. Mary do? She sits down and retypes the entire manuscript herself, and in 2006, the book was republished, finally bringing her ancestors' voice and the copyright back home.
Okay, so hold that thought about his book for just a second, and look at this number, 1,000 plus. What on earth is that about?
That's how many students the T. Leroy Jefferson Medical Society mentors every single year. So just think about the timing here. At the very same moment his intellectual legacy was being brought back from the dead by his family, his legacy of service was out there sparking the minds of the next generation. 2 powerful legacies running on parallel tracks and both thriving. It's just wild.
So, why does a story from the early 1900s still hit so hard today? Why does any of this matter?
Well, it really comes down to this powerful dual legacy. You have the healer, whose spirit of service is totally alive and well in the incredible work at the Medical Society today. And then you have the thinker, whose voice was literally rescued from being forgotten and can now inspire all of us, reminding us of the long, hard fight for equality. And that kind of leaves us with one last big question. Dr. Jefferson started his work over 120 years ago, but its impact just keeps growing. It really makes you stop and think, what does it take for one person's mission, their dedication, to not just last, but to echo so loudly for more than a century?